Umlen and Ablak Gemara. This is the Gemara, the Gemara for Sunday, Daf Samach Ches Amid Aleph. So we continue the Gemara. We'll talk about, introduced the Kurdiyakas, which is a kind of a shade, a demon. So we're going to move on to talk more about Shadim, about Ashmedai, the king of all the demons. Says the Gemara, right in the middle of the page, the last word of the line is a pasuk, a Sicily, Shadim v'Sharis. The pasuk says, a Sicily, Melech said, I made for myself Shadim v'Sharis, singers or instruments, male and female, with Tanugas b'nei Adam, and I also had all the different pleasures of for people, and Sheda v'Shedas, and Sheda v'Shedas. The Gemara explains now. What is Shodim v'Sharis? Different kinds of instruments. Tanugim b'nei Adam, these are bath, swimming pools, Sheda v'Shedas. Hocha tagim, here they interpret Sheda v'Shedas, which are literally demons, a male and a female shade. The Marav Amri in Yisrael they say Sheidosa. They say it actually means the chariots that carry women and officers. Rabbi Yechon says, Shalosh minei shadim hoya b'shichin. There were 300 different kinds of shadim in shichin. The shade, and the case already said before that the shadim hang around in tunnels and in caves. So the Yaibets want to say that shichin here means caves. The shade atzman, ain't there mahi. But what exactly is a shade? I don't even know. What exactly it looks like, I'm not sure. Amar, we say over here, hocha tagimu. Here we translate shade of a shadin is shade of a shadin lamayi boile. Here we translate it means a shade of male and female. You actually said before. What do we need them for? To see why does Melech need shadim and shadis? So you know why? Because it says v'habayis b'yivnosha even shleima masanim. Shleima Melech was building the base of Mikdash. It had to be complete stones. Couldn't use metal to carve it, even though it's talking about the mizbeach, but he also needs for other things as well. Or he wants to beautify the base of Mikdash. What should I do? Amalei told him, Ika Shamira. There's a thing called Shamira that was created from the beginning of time. The Ice and Moshe Rabbeinu actually brought it la'avne ephod for the stones of the ephod. Machlekes Rishonim, does it mean actually the ephod, or does it mean the Cheshen Mishpat? But we need it for the stones because on the one hand it says that we had this in the end of the Gemara Sotah. On the one hand, that we had that it has to be, you have to put the letters in. On the other hand, it has to be maluyam, it has to be complete. How do you do that? And if you're going to chisel it out, or if you're going to write on it, it's a double nice. It's not part of it. It's not engraved. If you chisel it out, it's not anymore whole. You chisel on pieces. So therefore, they had the shamir, and the shamir split it. And I already told you, I think back then, that the Taz learns from here that printing, famous Taz, that the Taz learned that printing is like writing, and you want to paskin, you can print the mezuzah and print the Sefer Torah. What's the basis for that? Because otherwise, why do you have to have a shamir? Make a miracle shamir. You have the printing press, print, and the printing is considered like engraved, not like writing. So then they would have been perfect. You could have had the chesed mishpat and everything else. The fact that you need a shamir means that printing is not good enough. It's not considered engraved. It's more like writing a dovanos in addition, and that's why they couldn't do printing, which obviously baffled everybody because there were no printing presses in those days. But we did say that there's an opinion that says when the Gemara Yuma said that Ben Kamsa, the family who was cursed, they can write Hashem's name with 4 different pens in their hand at the same time. What they had was a printing press, and they refused to divulge the secret of the printing press at that time. Says he might further. He said to them, where in the world can I find the Shemir? They said to him, so why don't you bring these demons? The Gemara Chagiga says in 3 ways they're like a male, like a human. In 3 ways they're like a malach. And Kafshina Dadi put pressure on them. And Efshidiyoti, maybe they know, perhaps they know Megalach, and they will reveal to you where the Shemir is being, where it's hidden. He brought those 2, Kafshina Dadi, he forced them together. We don't know, but Dilma Malka the king of Shadim Ashmedai, he might know. He would have find him. He finds himself in this particular mountain. He dug for himself a pit. He filled it with water. And he covered it with a stone, the chashbet and he sealed it with his seal. Every day, it goes up to heaven. The Goman Besifta the Kir. Every day he goes up to heaven and he learns in Shemayim. The Nochizar comes back down. The Goman Besifta that learns below. And then also he goes, he goes and surveys his seal, Megalile, and reveals it, Bishasi drinks it, Umechasa then covers it, Bechasimle, and he steals it. Ozil, and he goes, Shadde Libnoi Ben Yehuda, so Yerushalayim Melech sent for Benoi Ben Yehuda to see if he can trap this Ashmedai, capture him. Yoveleshu Shulta, the Chokol Hashem, he gave him a chain. It has the Abish's name in it, so once he manacles him, he won't be able to break out. And Vazakta, the Chokol Hashem, and also a ring that had the Abish's name in it. And the Gvaved the Amra, and a bowl of wool, the Zika the Chamra, and canteens of wine. Also, he went, being very smart, he went, first he dug a pit right below the pit of Ashmedai, the Shafina Lamaya, and he poked a hole in the top, so all the water drained out of the Ashmedai's pit below. Then he sealed it with his ball of wool. Then below, he then dug another pit above, so he didn't tamper it over the pit from Ashmedai. The Shafina he filled with wine. And then the wine dripped down into the boil of Ashmedai, but Tamino, and he hid Solik, Tamino, and he covered it and he hid it. Solik Yosbilah. They went up a tree to observe what's going to happen. He also, when Ashmedai came, he looked at his signet ring and Galia, and he opened it. Ashke, he found the Chamra was full of wine, smelled of wine. Amad, he said, see, there's a passage where it clearly says a lates, a hayayin, that wine makes somebody into a lates, into a joke or something. And Homer Sheikher and old wine makes somebody all confused. The whole Shegeba, anybody who pursues it will not be smart. So why would I think it? Exceeds nus, the yayin, the kid, chika left pulls your heart away, you can't think straight. Lo yishti, didn't drink, but Kitzach, he got so thirsty, Lasagli had no bread. Yishti drank, Rava, he was inebriated, and Vigona, he fell asleep. Nochis, then Noah came down from the tree. Also, Shulta, he went ahead and he threw at him the chain. Satme, he closed it up. When Ashmedai woke up, he tried shaking around, trying to break out of it. Amalei Shmod the Morachloch, it's not going to help because the name of the Eibishter is on this chain, Shmod the Morachloch, and the name of the Eibishter is on the ring. He took him, Asi Moto Dikla, he came across a palm tree, Chope gave a rub, Shadya, it went flying. Moto the Besa, they came to a house, Shadya went flying. Moto Gabe Kuba, Huamalta, they came to this little tent from this widow, not because she went outside, and Yichanale, she begged Ashmedai, please spare my little tiny hovel. The kumsum the kamase mine. So sorry, kafel kamase mine. What happened? So Ashmedai had to then wriggle his way out so that he wouldn't destroy this woman's little tent, a little hut. It be began as a result. He broke a bone. Somebody said, see, this is what it says. Someone who tender talk causes you to break your bones. Because this woman, by pleading with her case, caused him to break his bone. Chazia, Sammy saw a blind person that was lost on the road. Askiluch, I went and picked him up and put him back on the right road. Chazia, saw this drunkard that was also going off the road. He was getting lost. Askiluch, put him back on the main road. Chazia saw this wedding that everyone was joyous. Bochi began to cry. Shamal Gabriel heard a person of a Kamar. He said, he said a shoemaker, maybe really good shoes, good quality shoes that were lasting for 7 years. He began to laugh. He saw the sorcerer that had a cousin that was doing all kinds of witchcraft. He began to laugh as well. So Benoah later is going to ask him to explain all of these activities. And he came there to Shleim. He waited 3 days. The first day, while he was waiting, Somebody said to him, why is the king summoned me? The king is drunk. Shakal took a brick, to place the top of another brick. Also, what is the significance of what Ashmedai just did? This way I tell you, harder school, get drunk again. Now give him another brick. Why is this summoning me? He ate some food and is having a bad. He ate too much. They removed the brick from the other one. Again, also had a place on the ground. Also, they went, he said, this is what I tell you. Take away some of the food he's overeating. So plus a yoma, I the come in. And today he invited Ashradai to come in. Shokul Kani, he took a stick, and it probably was his walking stick that he was used to walk all this way. Umashach Arbog he measured 4 amas. V'shodik Kamei, then he threw it before Shleiman Amalei Mechdi. He said to Shleiman, Ki Ma'is Avogabra, when you will pass away, less than Bahan Amal Dargamidi, all you'll have left is the 4 amas your body occupies. Hashtanao, Kivashtu Kula Alma, you're now conquered the whole world. You're an emperor of the whole world. Lo Savat, at the Kavashna Adin, you had to conquer me also. Where would I come in? I don't really need you. I want to build the base of Migdash. I need the Shamir. That's why I've captured you. I don't have the Shamir. The Sada the Yama Muslim. It's the officers in charge of the ocean. He has the Shamir. And the only he trusted is with this wild time ago. The Hemlesh was very honest in his integrity, and he uses the Shamir for himself, and that's it. My other day, what does this Tarnagal do with the Shamir? He goes to the top of the mountains, to the summit, and he places a Shamir to split it open. Until he puts it on the peak. Upaka Tura, the mountain splits, or Mankid Maisid Bizroni Milani, that brings seeds from different trees. The Shudder throws it there, but have a Yishuv, and suddenly it becomes fertile, and suddenly there's a whole society there, a whole city there. Behind the community, we call this bird Nogar Tura. He splits mountains. But so they went searching for a nest of this Tarnagol, these labor that had the eggs. Then they covered the glass cover. So the bird can see, this Tarnagol bird can see its babies inside. They can't get to because the glass cover. He also, may want to go inside the mutz, he couldn't go in. Also, Icy Shamir went and brought the Shamir, the place on the glass, and then it was about to break. Rama big color, so they raised their voice and they, intimidated this kind of those. Shadid threw down the Shamir, Shokle, and they took it. Also, Chanik Nashesh was when the bird saw that, he strangled himself because he breached his own promise. My time why you saw the blind person of was getting lost, was going astray. Why did you put him back on the main road? They announced in Shemaim that this blind person is a real tzaddik. Anyone does the right thing, also go to Haba. So look, even the Shadim also are interested in Haba, the learning. My time, I'm sure that a person is lost. He brought him back. Nobody can say he's a tzaddik. They announced in heaven the Rosh Gomeru. He's a complete Rosh. But so therefore I gave him we rewarded him for something good he once did. In order that all is good will be consumed, he can go again and where he deserves. So my time when he saw this wedding, he cried. I'm like, boy, because the husband is going to die within 30 days. And there's no brother-in-law yet, just a little baby. She has to wait the young cotton for this young man to grow up, place a full 13 years, and she'll be an aguna till then. So I cried for her. My time, when the business person said the shoemaker, other than the sound of Shef make me shoes for 7 years. You laugh. I'm like, who's Shiva Yomer? He doesn't even have 7 days to live. He needs shoes for 7 years. My time, why is it you saw this sorcerer that would cause him to make magic? You laugh. Right beneath him was the treasure of the king. Let him go find the true treasures. He uses witchcraft for good things. And the Tarche Gabe, the kept Ashmalai there at the Banya the base of me until he built the base of English. Not exactly sure why he kept Ashmalai all this time. The other one day have a Kurlich, they were standing alone, both of them, Shlomo Melech and Ashmalai alone. So Ashmalai said to Shlomo, Ksiva says, Kitcha for Sarim Boy, and the Abish says in Parshas Bolo, that he's created a for Sarim Boy, that he's so lofty and so mighty. Is Mamina Te'efas Elo Malach Hasharis, and it says Te'efas, these are the Malachim, but it ain't Elo Hashadim, because Shadim are a step below the Malachim. Is mighty B'Saychim on what makes you better than us. Because you, the aim, what are you better than us? Remove that chain from around me, and give me your ring, and I'll show you how we're better than you. He removed it from him. They gave him the ring. He swallowed Shlomo Melech. Others say that he actually swallowed the ring, not Shlomo Melech. One of his wings now, down he no longer have a chain around him. One of his wings reached the sky, Lechad Gapi Bar, one of reached the ground. Poske Arba Meya Parsi, and he tossed away Shlomo Melech, he threw him 400 parsa, distance of 400 parsa. Ali Shaidu Shlomo, for that moment, Shlomo said, what's the value of all the work, the hard work? This is my lot from all my work. My visa and this. We have an argument between Rav and Shmuel. This is my stick. All I have now is me and my stick. And that means that the only thing I can still control is my stick, is myself, and no further than that. And the other says he had an earthen cup. That was it. Shlomo now was far away, and he started walking back in Shleim, and he was starving and door knocking, and he took wherever he was, wherever he reached, he said, Anika Hellas, I used to be king of Shleim. When people looked at him the way he was, nobody believed him. He went to the Sanhedrin. If you have idiots, they don't stick with the same story all the time. Maybe there's some truth to it. My high, what's going on? They said to Benoye, did you see Shlomo Melech recently? Actually, I haven't seen Shlomo Melech for a while. They sent to all the queens. Did you have any relations with the husband? Kaasi comes. They remove their socks? You look at their feet. They all came socks. And because it says that shadim, their feet are like the feet of a chicken. The Katovel in the ice, and the other thing is that Shlomo Melech has changed completely. Now he doesn't care that we're in Nida, he wants to have a relation with us. And the Katovel now Basheva, Emek, he wants to have a relation with his own mother, Basheva. Hasul Shlomo Sanhedrin realized this is not right. They called him Shlomo, and behind it, and Bahobel as after the Chotel, they gave him back a ring and a chain that had H there, and said, "Go get it." Kiaya, when he went into Ashkenaz's room, Chazia and Ashkenaz saw Shlomo that he threw away 400 amas. Porach, he fled. I feel how the reason that Shlomo the rest of his life was scared of him. And it says in Matashin Shlomo Shishin Gebayim, he always had 60 Gebayim surrounding him. Gebayim Yisrael, Kulu Achuz Echedim, they all had swords. They were each one had a sword on their side. So he's scared of the night. Rav Shmuel, and I with Rav Shmuel, Chadam Melech Behedit, he was a king, and then became an ordinary person, never resumed his throne. The Chadam Melech Behedit Melech. The Mephoshar explained, doesn't mean he resumed his throne. He no longer was the same kind of king that he was initially. And Allah says, yes, he resumed his full power. Because nobody was aware that in the interim there was another king that looked just like him, Ashkenaz. So we told this whole story of Ashkenaz because we're talking about in the Mishnah. We started off saying about the Kurdi Yofis, which is a shade. So we talk about other shades. Now we go back to medicines. And the Shalom says we don't take these medicines because in fact they could even be they could even have an adverse effect because of the our bodies have changed. But the Gemara continues, and the Gemara says as follows. If someone has blood in their head, they should bring shurbina. They should bring a shurbina. Some of these things over here, Rashi says it's kind of a cedar tree. One of the brand we had a number of different cedar trees. One of them, and they also brought ubina, which Rashi says a willow, and va'asa dora, and they brought hadas that was fresh. And the Zaysa, you bring olives, the Shilfa, and also something like that's like in the family of our rabbis. We have the Sukkah, and Shilfa the Yama, and I guess another similar thing. And then the Yavel, some kind of grass, she says. Then what you do is cook them all together. And then you go ahead and you pour 300 cups of this potion on one side of the head, the plasma kasi haida gisadation, another 300 cups on the other side of the head, and that's what you do. And that somehow or another takes away if you have blood on the head. and Rashi said, what do you mean by blood on the head? It means a massive headache. And then the Gemara said, what happens if that actually didn't work? And Rashi says the reason why it's called blood in your head is because the headache is caused by blood. A rush of blood in your head or something, or high blood pressure, something like that. The Eloi, what happens if this didn't work? Then, or you don't have access to it, Lysi Vardas, you bring white roses, the don't leave growing on one side. The lishkale, and you boil that. The lintel shisin kosi a high gization, then you pour 60 cups on one side of the head, and shisin kosi a high gization, another 60 cups of that white rose that was boiled up on the other side of the head. What about litzlichter? What about to a half a headache? Like you have migraines or other kinds of headaches. What do you do for that? So previously it was the entire head, now it's only part of the head. So what you do is you bring a tarnaga to the bra. You bring this wild tarnaga. The lichchete bezuzah chibra. You shecht it not by using a knife, but use a very sharp coin. And ahugi says the kaile, and you shecht this wild bird above your head, the side of the head which hurts. So the blood drips down or oozes onto your head. When there's diabetes, listen, be careful the blood should go into your eyes, it might blind lane, it might blind you. Malikle the see for the bubble. And then you hang this yeshach in the bird on your doorstep. Every time you walk in and out of the house, you're rubbing against it. And that's the trufa, the antidote for that. What about levrukosi? This is for the eye. It actually says it's like a cataract on your eye. Is Laisa Akrabo, the Sheb will bring a scorpion that has 7 different colors. And when the Yavsha let it dry in the shade, not in the sun. And the Nishka, you grind it, Tarta Manosha Koichla, 2 portions are blue, the Choda Manosha Mine, and 1 portion is the scorpion itself with all the colors. And then you take 3 spoonfuls of 3 portions when you put it on this side, and then with lots of mikle behayein, another 3 portions on the other eye from this potion. Trailer is no more. But the law, if not, if you put too much, it can actually cause your eye to, burst out of your head. What about the shabrit light? If you have night blindness, is nice as sugar barker. You should bring a hair. You should bring a hair from an animal, or from a horse, the tail of a horse or a cow. And tie one side of it around your leg. The other side tie around the dog. The nitfu yenuke chaspa abase. Let kids throw clay shards on top of that dog. For the lame, and they should say the following chant. And they should say, Osa Kauba, old dog, Akosa Tarnago, you foolish Tarnago. And then what happens is, then the leak bay shev umtze meshiva bate, he then gets umtze as raw meat. He collects raw meat from 7 different houses. You put it by your door in the entrance of your house. And then when then you go ahead and you eat this meat. A while later, bikakula the masa, you eat it where the ashpa is, where the tip is. And basar and afterwards, leave shudra barka, and you take off the rope that's around your leg, still around your leg. But you say the following chant. Shavridi, the plenty by plenty, the blindness of this person, the son of this woman, and Shavkinu, and leave alone le pleni bar pleni. So this person, the son of this woman, the leichel the kalva the and then you go ahead and you blow into the pupil of the eye of a dog. I'm not sure exactly how these things work. These are different medicines that they used to use. Lishavridi imam, if you have day blindness, is Laisa Shiva Sumke, Mikava de Chivasa. Shiva Sumke, you bring 7 different chayil, 7 different spleens from a new animal, then it's vino a chaspa, you roasted a chaspa on a piece of clay from a tradesman, and the lace of iu megavai. Then this blind person, one blind has day blindness, sit inside the house. Another person sit outside the house. The name of the avida, and the blind person should say to the seeing person, "Havli the echel, give me some toil and spleen so I can go ahead and eat." The name of the heyich, you're here. Here it is. So the take it and eat it. When he finishes eating it, litre lechaspa, break the clay shard. Could ye, and that's the remedy. Could ye lie hadri? If you lie, if not, you don't break it. Hadri, you lie that the blindness will come right back. And we'll continue with the following.